Good morning. The subcommittee will come to order. Mr. Secretary, we are really thankful that you're here today to discuss the fiscal year 2027 budget and fiscal year 2028 advanced appropriations request for the Department of Veterans Affairs. I would also like to recognize the VA Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Richard Topping, who is here to provide the technical budget support if necessary. He's going to answer the really difficult questions. And it's not hard to understand why that might be necessary in the sense that the budget request is a total of $488.2 billion in fiscal year 2027 for the Department of Veterans Affairs, representing a 7.7% increase over fiscal year 2026 enacted levels. This includes $144.7 billion in discretionary funds, $337.7 billion in mandatory funds to include $54.6 billion for the Toxic Exposure Fund and advanced appropriations for fiscal year 2028. Landmark pieces of legislation like the PACT Act and the Mission Act have reshaped access for veterans to health care. The creation of these programs has ensured more veterans are eligible to receive care and have access to the resources needed to exercise these earned benefits. This subcommittee has worked tirelessly to ensure that the department has the resources it needs to deliver world-class health care to those that have served. The budget request also includes significant investment in systems modernization to support veterans who use VA services and the dedicated workforce that is essential to providing a positive veterans experience. For instance, this year's budget request includes $4.2 billion and $840 million increase to support the continued deployment, acceleration of an electronic medical record. The VA faced significant challenges during the early rollout stages. However, VA's current leadership has adapted and earlier this month delivered what seems to be a very successful rollout in Michigan. Secretary Collins, we look forward to an update on this program and hope we are on track to make health records boring again. Mr. Secretary, your RISE proposal would consolidate administrative functions in the Veterans Health Administration above the clinic level. This subcommittee is interested in an update on the proposal, the expected efficiencies you hope to gain, what risks the VA is evaluating as it considers the final proposal, and any budget implications. In addition to updates on those big picture items, we also look forward to hearing details about the department's request for mental health services, including efforts to prevent veteran suicide, initiatives to prevent veterans homelessness, resources dedicated to care for women veterans, and efforts to improve care for our rural veterans. I would be remiss to not publicly acknowledge the retirement of longtime clerk of this subcommittee. For a dozen years, Patrick Magnuson has worked tirelessly to ensure adequate funding for VA and military construction through some of the most challenging and dynamic years in our nation's history. Thank you, Patrick, and Godspeed in your retirement.